Hey, what's up YouTube? Welcome back to my page, Moneymaker Juggernaut. I'm your host, Eric Richardson, the #1 educator in the asset recovery business. Today, guys, I have a great video in store. I am going to break down the difference between mortgage foreclosures and tax sale overages. Before we get started, guys, go ahead and hit the like, hit the subscribe button. You guys already know I'm doing this content for you guys so that you can dominate in this industry. Now, the reason why I want to break this down is, guys, there is a big difference between mortgage foreclosures that lead to a surplus and tax sales that lead to a surplus. And you need to know what the difference is, time frame on payout, if an attorney is needed, documentation, who you need to go to, and all of that will be explained in this video. For starters, guys, we'll go ahead and break down the tax sale. Very simple. We have two types of tax sales. We have a tax deed and we have a tax lien. If you want to know the differences between the states that do tax deed and tax liens, you can check out the course. Basically, in a tax deed, property is immediately sold at the auction and the ownership is transferred to the new owner. At a tax lien, they get a rights of redemption period. In some states, when they automatically put in their claim for the surplus, that ends the ownership, but typically with that redemption period, that is basically time in which they can redeem the property. They can pay their taxes plus interest and they can get the home back. So on tax deed states, when the property is sold, you can go after the surplus immediately. And tax lien states, you have to understand the difference between a redemption period, being able to file a claim and automatically ending the redemption period, or the redemption period and you have to wait for the redemption period to expire before you can actually receive the funds. Like I mentioned, that is in the course. So these type of foreclosures come about due to non-payment in taxes. So if somebody owns a property, let's say their property is worth $100,000 and they have to pay $8,000 in taxes. If they do not pay their $8,000 in taxes, the county has the authority to go ahead and foreclose that property, hold it at a tax sale, an investor will buy it, and whatever amount that they buy it for above the taxes owed, that is going to lead to the surplus. Now, typically in the tax sale surpluses, counties have claim forms. Super simple. You can fill it out. You don't really need an attorney if they're providing the claim form, unless the county mentions that they do not work with third-party companies. These type of claims typically will have some sort of stipulations in regards of payout times. Like in California, you have to get your claim within a 1-year period, and if you don't, it completely expires. The funds are cheated over to the state. Same thing with Nevada. Then we look at Florida. They have a 120-day period in which the county will not even review a claim. That doesn't mean you can't get a claim in. It just means they will not review it in that period. So you should get a claim in. So like I always teach guys, you want to become an expert in that state and the county that you're working. But on tax sales, typically it's a little bit simpler because they're going to give you a claim form that you can fill out. Tax sales will also sometimes provide to you an excess proceeds list. Some counties will have this list that you can send as proof. Also, they'll have a notice of surplus funds letter sometimes that you can show as proof. Another thing too is sheriff sales. Sheriff sales can be either tax sales or mortgage foreclosures. The way that you can determine if a sheriff sale is a tax sale by looking at who the plaintiff is. The plaintiff is the county treasurer. That is a huge indicator that that is a tax sale. Plaintiff is a bank. Huge indicator that is a mortgage foreclosure. So in tax sales, pretty clear cut. You can get away without using an attorney if the county does not specify that they do not work with third-party asset recovery companies. Some counties in Georgia are like this. That's a great example that you can use. Finding an attorney, using an attorney is not difficult. It's actually highly recommended. And in my course, I teach you guys how to do that. Now, let's get into mortgage foreclosures. Mortgage foreclosures are either going to be judicial or non-judicial. Judicial meaning held by the county or the sheriff. Non-judicial held by the trustee. All right, so let's go ahead and talk about judicial first. On judicial mortgage foreclosures, typically we can access this information directly from the county. We'll get a case number. We can pull up the docket. We can review the series of events. We can look at any documentation. We can tell if a claim has been filed. We can get our notice of surplus letter if they have it, certificate of disbursement. All of that's going to be pretty simple. We can go directly to the county to get the auction results, and we can determine and create our own surplus list. Now, on these, typically you'll want to use an attorney because they'll follow the motion. Now, you can get away with it without an attorney. You're going to have to file, it's called pro se, but this is going to be more difficult, not recommended. I always say use an attorney on mortgage foreclosures because it's going to add transparency and clients will feel more comfortable. Now let's get into non-judicial. All right, on non-judicial, these are held by the trustee. Typically, we can find these non-judicial claims on auction.com. Very simple. We'll hard the properties prior to the sale. We'll get an email in our inbox with the sale results. We'll go to foreclosure information and we'll see who the trustee is. The only thing with non-judicial is it's not like the county. They're not going to have a list just existing on their website. You're going to actually have to contact the trustee to first verify that the surplus exists, if they have a claim form, and if somebody has actually filed a claim. So you don't have a docket that you can go in and view all of the information. This is held by the trustee, so you're going to have to contact them to receive those funds. Now on non-judicial, it's going to be up to the trustee to determine if they work with the third-party asset recovery companies. Some of them do, some of them don't. This is another key example on why you actually need an attorney in your team. And like I said, if you don't know how to find an attorney, if you're afraid to find an attorney, all of that can be resolved by checking out the course. Now let's get into it. What's more difficult? Mortgage foreclosures, tax sales, who pays out faster? Great question that a lot of you guys want to know. The answer is, it is not clear cut. Like I always explain, nothing is cookie cutter in this business. We always have fundamentals. So on the mortgage foreclosure side, on judicial, typically I've seen faster payouts because you file a motion, you get a court date, they approve the motion. Non-judicial, sometimes the trustees drag their feet. On the tax sale, this can be longer dependent upon the regulations of the actual state. Like California, for example, you're gonna have to wait that year. Florida, you're gonna have to wait 120 days. So it all depends on the county and the state that you're working, and that's gonna be dependent upon yourself to do your due diligence and find this information. Both are great to work, both can be very lucrative, and both are very simple to find leads, work leads, and submit successful claims. So hopefully this video helped you guys out. If you're interested in learning step-by-step exactly how to do this business, all the documentation needed, check the link in the description, use the code TAKEACTION, you receive $100 off, and I'm looking forward to helping you out.